So we're jumping back into the Coliseum today. We're bringing a young man by the name of Pitbull, Kevin Pitbull Torres. I got a great story to introduce this guy in a moment. But before we get started, as always, show today is brought to you again by Mason Johnson, the beard care line. For a healthy beard that will smell great with the ingredients to promote growth, the Gentleman's Collection is Mason Johnson. Also, the Zeus pre-workout for intensity, laser focus, minus a crash afterwards. The Zeus pre-workout is going to be the best workout for you on the market. I promise you. So let's jump into it, man. I got to introduce Pitbull today. I don't know if he likes to be called Pitbull, or Kevin. Either one of the three, I guess. You let me know. But have a great story to let you guys know why this interview was so important to me. Back in 2017, I hadn't competed, hadn't thought about competing. I was your typical, I guess, ego lifter in the gym, bro lifting, whatever it was. And I made the trek from Alabama to California to the Iron Axe gym, CT's gym, for his annual Iron Wars competition. So at the time, Pitt was part of another group of guys. He was very well known, but of that group, he was my favorite. I started following him. I liked everything about him. He was an amazing lifter, very charismatic on camera, and just one of those people who you like to just kind of watch and follow. So we're at the event, we're at Iron Wars, and if you've never been to Iron Wars, it's crazy. I mean, it's a lot of commotion going on. Pitt will tell you, like, people all over the place going nuts. And so about midway through the event, the guys come in. He comes in with the group of guys he's with. And if you know anything about this era, like, they come in like it was a movement. They come in with like 50 motherfuckers like, straight to the group, right? And so everyone kind of parts, and like the whole crowd kind of parted like the Red Sea parts, and they walk in a line, right? And so at the time, I'd never really been to Cali, hadn't really met very many people in the industry. I was just a fan of most of these people, most of the guys. And they come in, and so they come in, I'm standing right next to them as they're walking by, and Pitt's maybe fourth or fifth in line. I remember like it was yesterday. And everybody who walked by me, it was like, yeah, what's up? What's up? It was like a very, very kind of nonchalant, almost like the fanboy shit. But that particular day, Pitt looked at me, he dapped me up, and he was like, what up, bro? And I don't know if he knew me or not, but at the time it was like, damn, like, I like this dude. Like, I've been following this dude for a minute. I'm kind of a fan of this cat. And like, he just acknowledged me on some real shit, right? And so that day stuck with me, bro. Like, and that was the day I think I decided, no, I want to like really try to pursue this whole powerlifting thing. And I became an even bigger fan, bro. Like, he was just super cool. Showed me mad love from the beginning when I was essentially a nobody. And that was a very meaningful day for me, I'll be honest with you. And from that day on, you were even more my favorite guy of the whole group, man. So I definitely appreciate it. I think the next time we met in person, may have been in Atlanta a few years later. We chopped it up at a lifting event, and you were mad cool again. So Pitbull Torres, man, hope I'm saying your last name right, Torres.
Yeah.
All right. Got him in the Coliseum today. Gonna ask a few questions, have a good interview, have a little conversation. And for you all who don't know, it is approximately 11:15 on my side of the world.
But you're grinding, bro. You're grinding. It's only 9 o'clock over here.
I know, right? It's 9 o'clock over there with him. But we had some scheduling going back and forth. He's very busy. That's why I want to again appreciate him getting on the show, man. It worked out best for us to do it late at night, and I was completely okay with that if I could get him on. So that's why we're here tonight. For me at never midnight, but I'm cool. I drank about 2 energies, two months, so I'm good to go, bro. So before we get started, Pitt, let me know, man, like, where are you from? Like, where you're originally from, your family. I like to start all my interviews that way so people kind of know a little bit about your upbringing and how you grew into yourself and to your own.
So I'm from Irvine, California over here. And my dad's actually from Mexico and my mom's from California. So my dad actually came over here when he was around like 6 or 7 actually where my gym's at in Santa Ana. It's about like 10 miles away from Irvine. So it's like a little 10-minute drive commute every day. It's super easy. And so I kind of was raised in Santa Ana too. My family was born, but I was a baby of the family. So by the time I was born, we already moved into Irvine and stuff. It's more of a quiet neighborhood, more safer. And I would say like Santa Ana is a lot more like just 10 more miles. It's a lot more ghetto. Irvine was legit like considered, I think, one of the safest cities like in the whole what's it called, California. So it was like a kind of like a really big deal how safe it was. But yeah, so pretty much just grew up. I have 2 older sisters. I'm like I said, the baby of the family. Never really had like any I would say like got like a big father figure. Like I had a dad, but my dad, you know, worked Monday through Saturday. Sunday was his only rest day. So like I never, like, my uncles took me to practice. Like pretty much my coaches like growing up were like my father figures, kind of taught me how to, like, you know, man up and just freaking be tough. And my uncles helped me out with that too. But pretty much sports really like helped me like who I am today, like just the discipline, the dedication, like the heart, because I was always little and stuff. So playing football was like not the probably the best sport for me to be playing. But my uncles are like, he got to play football. I remember playing, I played soccer my first year. And my uncle's like, nah, he's got to play football. My mom's like, he's too little, he's gonna get hurt. And my uncle's like, nah, he's got to play. And so like I remember my uncle was like, were the ones teaching me how to put like pads in my pants and stuff like that. Cause I know my pops was at work and stuff like that. So
Yeah.
I remember my uncles kind of being like a big father figure. But football definitely, like, I just grew up around playing football, like from when I was 7 all the way to like I played like 1 year junior college. And that was just like for sure my passion. Like I loved it. And that's what got me into powerlifting. I wanted to like get better at football. And then one of my buddies was training at a gym, and where the coach was Chad Wesley Smith, and he had his own little gym, and he was training like football players, like volleyball girls to jump higher, just to be more explosive, all kinds of athletes.
Yeah.
So that's how I met Chad. I never had like money like to go train at those private like facilities and stuff like that. My parents have no money. So he like met me because he asked one of my buddies that was training there, like, who's the strongest kid on your football team? And he's like, oh, like my buddy Kevin. He's like, oh, like how much does he weigh? He's like, oh, he's on like 160 pounds. And so he's like, oh, like bring him by my gym. And so he brought him by the gym. And I remember in high school, like it's crazy to even think like I was doing this, because like the numbers were like just crazy. Like I was just, because to me it's still heavy. But yeah, I was front squatting 405 when I was like a sophomore in like high school at 160 pounds. Like that shit just blows my mind, because today that shit's still heavy for me,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah. Fuck yes.
So I remember telling Chad I did that, and he was just like, you're gonna squat 550 in 8 weeks if I put knee wraps on you and I train you. I was like, you're crazy. Like I don't even think I'll squat 500, like, you know, by like maybe my end of my senior year. And so he trained me for like, he's like, you want to do a competition with me? I'll like fly you out to Ohio. You'll train with me. Everything will be paid for. And I was like, as long as you get better, as long as you train me for football, I just want to get better at football.
Mm-hmm.
And he's like, yeah, man, like for sure. I'll like just, we'll do the powerlifting training first, and then you could do the off season, like football training. I'm like, okay. So I did the training with him. I trained for 8 weeks. I never deadlifted at all. Like didn't know how to do it. He legit said, pick up the ball with your feet wide and pick it up with like your feet narrow. He's like, what feels more easier? Because we don't have enough time to like be practicing like what feels better. And I was like, sumo kind of felt easier. So I just stuck with sumo, and I never had no technique, nothing. And then I had 8 weeks to get ready for that competition. And like I did really good, man. I did a SPF meet all the way in Ohio. Louis Simmons was there. It was like a really big competition. Everyone was wearing like the suits and stuff. Me and Chad were like probably like the only like 2 lifters wearing like classic raw, like just a knee wraps, you know.
Yeah.
And so we freaking did that comp. But yeah, I competed at 165. I remember I squatted like I said, Chad said I'll squat 550 in raw in 8 weeks. I ended up squatting 565 at that competition. And I remember that being like the biggest squat in like open men's raw powerlifting at 165 at the time. And I was only like 17 years old. And like when I competed, I did everything like in open men. I didn't even like sign up for like the juniors. And I was like 17 years old going against the open men. And it was the highest squat in the world at that time. And then I think I benched like 320 or something like that. And then I deadlifted 500, like I pulled 500 in comp. So I remember it was like a 1400 total or something like that. And even that 1400 total was like, it was a big deal. Like Chad was like, dude, you broke like the open men, like powerlifting record for 165, like classic raw. And I was like, oh shit, like that's cool. Like I didn't even really care. Like powerlifting wasn't even like a big thing. Like no one was really posting on social media. This was like, I was like I said, like a sophomore in high school. So it was like maybe 2000, like freaking 11, right? 2010, like around there. So social media wasn't even really like that big. and stuff. So I did that, and it was no thing. I just went back to training for football, and then it kind of just slowly got bigger with like you said, like social media, like the hype around CT Fletcher. I remember like working a normal job, being like, man, I was working at like a LA Fitness, and I was like, man, I want to go to that freaking Metroflex gym. Like that shit looks crazy. Like it's just the energy, and it's
Mhm.
just crazy. The social media, like you said, you came all the way from Alabama. Like I don't even know you're from Alabama. Like that shit's nuts, like it's just it's a whole different world, like the culture, like you guys are corn fed, you guys got the good food out there, boy. You got
Get
all this
right.
fucking processed fucking nasty ass food, everyone looks all gross and shit.
But by the way, first and foremost, it was 340 in your first competition, not 320 on the bench.
Oh, 340. See, damn,
340.
I underestimate myself.
I go back to what you said about your dad. So I remember when I was younger, man, my father, he worked, we called it swing shift. I don't know if that's what you call it out west. We call it swing shift. So you might work days sometimes, you might work nights sometimes, so it was whatever.
Yeah.
And I recall him working night shifts, and it probably was like your dad. You said, Monday through Saturday he worked, so Sunday was like rest day for him. So when my dad
Hmm.
worked at night, the one thing you did not do was bother him while he slept. You make one peep in the house and he wakes up, like that's your ass. You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
probably the same way, man. That's dope, bro. Like I look back and the thing is, that was 2011 with your first competition. So now it's 2021 and you're still going strong. So you were 17 years old, sophomore in high school, maybe 16, 17, I guess would have been if you're sophomore in high school.
Yeah.
And whenever I talk to people in powerlifting, the one thing that I think people tend to not give enough credit for, because powerlifting, dude, it's a brutal sport. Like it beats your body to shit. I mean,
Oh yeah.
so we talk about the longevity. So I started kind of late. I was 32, I think, when I first started competing. Um, and believe it or not, I won't say believe it or not. I mean, it's not hard to believe, but I only have I only have 4 official competitions under my belt, right? And I look at you, and you competed. I think it was 21 times. I looked at it. Yeah, 21 competitions on the roster, bro. Like that's
Yeah. That's crazy.
yeah, and I don't think people think about like that's a big part of powerlifting, like to be able to do it for a long period of time. I started
Yeah.
kind of late, got getting older, and so my body started breaking down. I won't say started breaking down. I started having injuries, and when you get to like your late 30s, recovering from injuries aren't quite as easy as they used to be when you were in your 20s. Number one, but number two, I look at the guys now who are like in their late 20s, early 20s, who are just busting ass. I'm like, bro, like I'm fucking 39 years old, and my body's on decline. Like I can't keep up with these kids anymore. So it was but yeah, that's impressive, man. I mean, 21 competition. It started 2011, so you're 12 years in the game. Like that's crazy.
Yeah, like I said, I've been doing this for a long time. Like you said, people don't give enough credit how um obviously it beats up your body, but it to me it's like I'm going through all these injuries and all this stuff because it's the years of I didn't do that stuff when I was, like you said, you're 39, you get older. Like I'm 27, about to be 28 next year. Like I'm getting closer to those 30s, and like that's when things like it's the time of the stuff, like of the years I wasn't doing stuff. So now it's catching up to me. And then
Mhm.
same thing for you. Like you started at 32, but you weren't fucking destroying yourself in the gym. So now you start destroying yourself in the gym, and now you're like, oh damn, like now I'm starting to get hurt. So I feel like we all have the same kind of window. It's just on how well we take care of our body. And then like if you do it from the start, you're not gonna ever really get hurt. But if you probably went a year or 2 years like going crazy,
Yeah.
like trying to max out every time, and then all of a sudden hurt your back, and then now you're out for a little bit longer. So even it's just crazy for me, like being in this game for so long, because when I started my business, it was very hard to like still like train because I was so tired just running my business. I was training hella late, and it's a full-time job, like being a powerlifter, like being an athlete, like to be a top level powerlifter. There's so much mobility work, so much just going to get your body like deep tissued every once in a while, keeping up with the stretching. Like it's not just go home and train. And obviously you got to eat your meals and get your proper sleep, and like we still got to pay bills. Like we all like are
Exactly.
don't fucking like pay your bills. So it's like you still got to put food on the table. If you got kids, you got a wife, whatever. But it's that's just like a big part of it. But as I'm getting older, like I was just focusing more on like kind of like more going in depth, like why am I getting hurt? Like why am I having problems with like my deadlift, or why is like things not feel like I'm not getting stronger? And mainly the big thing for my deadlift was, I remember I kept on like, I thought it was a grip issue. I would get to like anywhere around 675, 700. I'd get to like my knees, and like I would feel like I would like shake, and I couldn't like I would stalemate, like like I would just hit a wall. Like
Mhm.
the weight would feel so easy. Like, yep, I got this deadlift. And then all of a sudden I'm like, oh fuck, I'm shaking, and the weight falls out of my hand.
Yeah.
And I just focused a lot on like my hip mobility, because my hips felt really tight. I was getting like a pain in my glutes. Like it was like almost like they were working too hard. Like I wasn't even like halfway done with the lift, and my butt cheek was already like fully flexed.
Mhm.
So I started working a lot on like mobility, working on like my end range of motion. So pretty much just like the full flexibility you have in your muscle, and my like knee and my ankle. And man, like I remember I didn't touch I didn't touch over like 600 pounds for like for over like I was doing reps of 600, like in this program I was
Mhm.
doing like 600 for 10, and I tried going up but I couldn't, because my glute, by the time I got to rep 5, the weight felt light but my glute was just like fully locked, and it
Mhm.
would be one more on one side of my hips. So I was like super uneven. And then I worked on my flexibility. I didn't touch the weights for like 3-4 weeks. Then I had a grand opening like event at my gym, and I ended up pulling like 765.
Yeah.
And like it was like a 45-pound PR, which like never happens at my level. Like, I'll get a 10-pound PR in a year, and I'll
Yeah.
be stoked, you know. So like I was like, wow, like it's just really focused. It's really big on mobility. And then my guy that was helping me stretch and do all this mobility stuff, he went back to school. I didn't get worked on by him, or do like I wasn't doing my stretching. I was front squatting 405 on the 5th set of 3. I went down and my freaking right knee caved in, and I hurt my like it was like my knee and my adductor, like my pretty much my adductor was so tight it pulled on my knee.
Mhm.
And that took me out for like 6 to 7 months, and that's like an injury I've been coming from. And it just took like, it's hard. It's like it's like you can't give up. Like you just can't give up on your body, and like learning how to like come back from things, because so many people put an excuse on like, oh, I hurt my back or hurt my shoulder, like, and yeah, you probably did, but there's a way to come back from it. It's just like
Yeah.
on how bad you want it, you know, like how bad do you really want to chase those goals still, and like really do what you want to do, because there's always a way to come back. And that's what I'm learning. And I'm just focusing on like just the technique, and pretty much just like using the best leverages of my body. And I've been feeling like really good lately. Like everything's going really good so far. I'm trying to get back into like, I've been doing like a powerlifting program through my coach Chad, and I'm
Mhm.
like on a peaking phase right now. So I've been kind of lifting really heavy. I've been doing like hella volume. So we'll kind of see where my strength's at the end of this peaking phase. But I definitely want to do a competition like sometime next year. Like, and I'm thinking around like February or March or something like that. Because
Yeah.
I already feel like I'm peaked out. So maybe a little like 8-12 week cycle, training cycle. And I'll be good to go, hit some new numbers, because I haven't competed in like, man, 3 years. So
Yeah.
it's been a long time. Like I said, I got 21 competitions on my belt. So it's not like I need to compete or I need the practice. Like I already, that's just like icing on the cake for me. Like I know how to deal with competition. I know the commands. Like it's cake for me. I love competing. But I said I more had to establish like my business, get all that, put that, like I said, that powerlifting doesn't pay your bills. So I had to focus more on business. And now
Mhm.
I'm getting back into, training full tilt again. Cause like I said, it's a full-time job. Like people don't understand. Like I lived broke for a long time just because I focused so much on powerlifting. Like I didn't care about, having, a nice car, like a business, or like just even thinking about the future. You're just so zoned in on like eat, sleeping, and training. Pretty much that's it.
Yeah, I mean,
So
you can easily get stuck into it. I mean, I was kind of the same way to a degree with just focusing on just training, bro. I would tell people I get up every day, and there's a few things I know I was gonna do, regardless of anything: eat, work, and go to the gym. All right.
yeah,
Anything else that may happen is gonna happen around those three things. And you're right. For like 5 or 6 years of my life, that's what it was. Now, when you're focused like that, you have blinders on. You're probably like me. You don't realize everything you're probably missing out on or that you could be doing, because you enjoying the fulfillment of hitting PRs and competing and just
yeah,
growing. and such. Now, as far as your business, I've watched Rare Breed from the inception to like right now, bro. You're like just going nuts with it. It's all over the place. So I mean, I saw you open your gym, start your clothing line. You got your crew that looks like they're pretty loyal. Like you guys like have a great time together, do a lot of stuff together. So how did Rare Breed come to be? I guess number one, the name Rare Breed. Where did you come up with that name from?
Pretty much just like I've always felt like I've always been like an overachiever and just always kind of like afraid of being like outworked. Like I've always just felt like I don't know, like I've always felt like an underdog, and I've always been doubted in everything I've done. So I've just been like, I want to find like my goal with Rare Breed was like I want to find a bunch of like people like me, like rare breeds, in any aspect of their life. If they don't need to be a power lifter or super strong, it could be like anything they're overcoming. Like if it's a weight loss, if it's a freaking job they're going through, if they're a golfer, any sport, it's a mindset to me. Like being a rare breed's a mindset, not like just like thinking like being like an average human being, like just thinking the easy way out. You want to always go with, like, to me, I like doing the hard things. Like when I find something that's hard, I'm like, it's probably good for you, like those workouts that you hate doing, those are like for all the clients that complain, it's like those are all the best for you. So I was like it was really kind of hard to find a name that's not so like just like tacky and like I don't know, like
Yeah,
just like
that
it's kind of
cliche.
hard. Yeah, it's like we're in 20 and 21, everything's taken, nothing's original. So I was just like, man, like what represents me? Like when people say me, like obviously my name's Pitbull, I can't like call my shit Pitbull, but I was just like, man, like I see myself as a legit rare breed, like, and I want to like hold that standard high and find other like individuals like that could represent that. And that's like what I want to create, and same thing with my gym. When I wanted to, with this gym, just find people like that. Like I said, they don't need to be big powerlifters or nothing. It's just it's a rare breeds of mindset. So
Yeah.
and just dealing with that, but definitely it's a lot. I'm actually just going with some meetings right now, trying to get some help running the gym because I already knew the gyms a lot. Like I've worked in gyms, but like yeah, like running a gym is a lot of work. Like just you got to build a community,
Mhm.
and I already have a lot of stuff on my plate with just freaking running my business, creating content, training. Like it's you definitely got to have a team. All these big brands that are like super big, they have a team, like, and they just don't really like show them love. They just like looking like they kind of do everything. But at the end of the day, like all these people that are killing it on YouTube and all this stuff, they got a big ass team that's helping them
Yeah.
do this stuff because it takes so much work to do all the little stuff behind the scenes. Like it like Bradley Mari and that, like, he don't touch nothing at his gym. He's got tons of people that do that for him. His podcast, he just got to show up. He's got people that run it. Like, he might have to post all the stuff they send him the stuff, but at the end of the day, like he's not like having to clean up or like do all the stuff that like
Yeah.
takes time. And that's like what I've been doing for like the past 2.5 years running my business. So I'm finally at the point now where I'm trying to like find people you trust and like actually people that are really gonna like support your brand like it's theirs and like want to like see you do good. Because it's just a lot of people, they get greedy in this world and they want us like, they don't like seeing you, like they say they like seeing you do good but not better than them.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
So it's hard to find like real loyal people that are down to like, come up together and just like, we all like eat off the same plate type thing. So yeah, just dealing with that. Cause like I said, if you want anything to be good or great, it takes a team, man. Like it takes a team. So I'm working on building that team and it takes time because my brand's called Rare Breed. So like it's hard to find these individuals. They're not like everyone says they want to and all that stuff, but it's like actions. I always respond to people that have the actions that show it, not just like talk about it, like, and bring stuff to the table and stuff like that. So just in the process of doing that. But yeah, man, it's been a grind running my brand, but I wouldn't want to be doing anything else. It's been definitely like a dream come true. Like I said, when I was with Strength Cartel and stuff, like I was so, like I said, I had those blinders on. I was so having so much fun. I was just training my ass off, like nothing else mattered. But then I got to a point where I was just like, man, I'm 25 years old. where do I see myself in the future, like
Mhm.
money, I'm not happy and stuff like that. So I had to just make the change for myself for the better. And honestly, that was the best decisions I've ever made in my life. It was probably the hardest and biggest decisions I've ever made in my life, but the best one for sure.
Yeah, yeah. It's been it's been cool, man, to watch you, move on from from that phase of your life to coming to your own. Sometimes when you, especially with social media, you tend to be able to develop friendships with people just via social media. Never
Yeah.
meeting them in person, right? Of course, we've met in person a couple of times, and we had a chance to chit chat a few times. But you're one of the few people. I won't say one of the few. You're one of a handful of people who I've followed and just kind of applauded, your efforts and what you've been doing. So it's like kind of being proud of a friend almost because, I watch you from being again part of another group when you were Strength Cartel, then coming into your own, and you could tell just from your posts, you were almost starting over from scratch. I remember when you posted your gym when you first acquired the location, and it was
Yeah, it's
just it
like
was it was just
nothing.
nothing, right? Then you had your mural painted on the gym. Then you started bringing equipment in, uh,
Yeah.
and then dude, it's been I guess a couple of years now that you've been on your own, and I mean, leaps and bounds before you started. And I'm looking at your video now. I mean, you got your inventory behind you there. You're in your gym. It's amazing. And you talk about how hard it is. Before we got on tonight, I was editing videos for the podcast, and right now myself, I'm kind of where you were, I guess, in the infancy stages of what you had going on before you had a team. And so I don't have a team. Really, with me, I have people who I hire out every now and then do things for me. But I'm sitting
Yeah.
down, I'm editing videos by myself. I'm doing interviews. I'm setting everything up by myself. So, and you're right, bro. Like you can't really grow unless you do it. So it's awesome that you got the people with you now. Um, I think what's your man's name? Is it Mook? Am I saying it right?
Yeah,
Mookie.
Mookie.
All
Yeah,
right.
Mookie.
So I started following his journey a little bit. So
Yeah.
who is he to you? Like how did he come
So
to be
he
part of
was
the group?
he's like a good friend like growing up. Shit, we went to the same elementary, same middle school, high school. He's a year older than me.
Mhm.
So like he was just like everyone knew him at school. He was the big guy, the big funny guy, but he's just been hella overweight since high school. We even wrestled together. He wrestled for a few years. But yeah, after high school, he got up to like 470 pounds. He's only like maybe 5'5", so like
Wow.
being 470 at 5'5", like that's really overweight. And dude, he's had every trainer, like his mom paid for every like Jenny Craig, every like type of food diet, and just nothing could like motivate him to lose weight. And like when I started my brand, he knew everything that was going down with Strength Cartel and all that stuff. And I was just like, man, like I already know, like when I start my brand, I'm gonna have like power lifters. I'm gonna have the Hispanic following. I'm gonna have the little short people that look up to me. I already knew my market, but I was like, how can I attack a different market? And I was like, man, like weight loss, everyone's overweight. Like fucking, it's like a 76% like of America's overweight. So I was just like, man, if I were to like hit up Mookie and just really help him lose weight. We weighed in once a week on YouTube and just like genuinely like just made him like helped him and like just film it and get it all monetized.
Mhm.
And that's what we did. I brought it up to him and he was like all pumped up, and he's always pumped up about it. But I think it was a trip when he saw, like, because I told him, I was like, hey, you need to post a shirtless picture, say you're gonna post a video on we're posting video on my YouTube once a week. And then he did that, and he went from like 300, he like had like 300 followers. He had like, this guy was like so insecure, like probably didn't want to show his face. I remember he had like a baby picture like on his like profile thing
Yeah.
for Instagram. So he went from 300 followers to 3,000 within like overnight. And like that post got like over 300 comments, like people, like all my fans just being like, man, like we're gonna follow you, like we're gonna support you. You got this, Mookie, all this. So once he got that reinsurance, he was just like, whoa, like I really can't quit
Mhm.
this. Or like it really motivate. It really like kind of probably, he's just probably in a dark spot, like,
Mhm.
probably thought no one cared about him, all this stuff. And so he got that reinsurance of, people being like, Mookie, you could do this. Like we're watching you type stuff. And man, we killed it. He was losing 5-7 pounds for a week. He's lost over like 100, like 80 pounds.
Yeah.
So he's doing good. He's like say started at 470 right now. He's at like 300 pounds. He's gone down to like I think like 255 at the lowest, and he's like still learning. You know, it's a learning game. He's only been in this game for like a year and a half. So I have talks with him all the time. Like it's all mental, bro. Like
Yeah.
it's all your surroundings, who you're hanging around with, like what you're gonna eat and all that stuff. So the biggest thing for him is the food. He's obviously in here all the time working out, but the biggest thing is just the food. And like I tell him, like you gotta just change your lifestyle habits. It's hard, but look at how much you changed your lifestyle habits in 1 year and you've lost over 100 something pounds. Can you imagine changing it for like a couple more years? You're gonna be even losing, you're gonna keep that weight off forever, you know?
Yeah.
So that's how we started. And like I said, it's kind of funny how you said like how you met me the first time, like just that genuine vibe you got off me.
Mhm.
Like I feel like that's really helped my brand, just being like myself. And
Mhm.
it was kind of hard to be myself when I was a strength cartel, because it was kind of more like it wasn't me, you know. It wasn't really like who I was. Like it was more like, I don't know, like I would say like just I don't know, just not, it was just wasn't me. So like
Yeah.
with my brand, I get to really express myself. And man, I've gotten gifted a lot of things. Like I got gifted a freaking sauna from my gym, just from someone just being like, man, Pitt, I see you, the videos you do with like Mookie, you're so genuine. And I know if I give this back, if I give this to you, good things are gonna happen to me. And I know I'll sell a few. So
Yeah.
like, gave me a freaking free sauna, and just little things like that, being genuine. Like it's to me, it's like almost like the saying, like real recognize real. Like people like can really like see that, like real people can really see it and like get that vibe off you. And like I'd rather be known as that than some like person that's just like a fucking, like I don't know, like attention pleaser or some
Yeah,
shit, or
I
big
get it.
ass
I get it.
following or whatever.
I get
So
it, bro. And then that was another reason why I wanted to get you on, man, because I knew I've met you a few times, and I knew how genuine you were. And sometimes, when you follow people on social media, um, you, it can be taken a couple of different ways. You can either just buy into their persona and just assume that's that a persona, or you can maybe get a little. I call it, people can fall into the fantasy of thinking, okay, this person is like this, but I wanted people to get a chance to kind of hear you talk, hear you tell your story, and see like how genuine of a person I knew you were to be, from meeting you. That's pretty dope. I will say this about Mookie, man. I started following his progress, and what you said about him going from almost being a little insecure. It's like you can literally see him progressively get more and more confident in himself, and as a process,
yeah.
and that's been really dope to watch, man. So I want to make sure I mention him because that was dope to me. That was one of your stories that you had on your page that I thought was need to be heard.
Yeah,
Um,
he was doing crazy on YouTube. It was like blowing up at the time when
yeah,
he was like losing that when he was like every week was 5-7 pounds, like when he was 470. Because it just looked, it was so raw, because that fool was like 450 pounds, looked like he was gonna die. And people were just like comments like, you need to be nice to him. You need to like, I was like, come on, let's go. Like I was
yeah,
so hard on that guy. And it just like, it was so raw and genuine. Like, bro, we were getting like 50,000 views in a day. People were like, bro, you get more than Cali Muscle. Like, he has 3 million subscribers. Like,
yeah,
I was getting YouTube hitting me up, like, oh, you're a creator on the rise. Like, it was just like so many people were like, were like, liking that, because it was just raw and real. There was no
yeah.
like fakeness about it. We were just weighing in once a week. We weren't even using nice ass cameras. One of my biggest videos on that weight loss thing is me like one of my videographers like wanted like half of my YouTube money once I started like blowing up on the YouTube. I was like, bro, like these are my followers. Like you just have a camera, you know? And so I like fired him. I got like a GoPro. I was like, I'm gonna just do this shit myself.
Yeah,
And then I just started filming myself, like, because it was like I can't miss a week. Like Mookie can't miss a week. I've got to film this shit. So
yeah.
I filmed it. I remember I had one of my ex-girlfriends just train him, and I was just filming him, and that shit went like took off. It's like my biggest video on YouTube. I think it has like almost 800K views in like probably a year or something.
So I remember talking to Mike Rashid one night at one of the Iron Wars. And he said just that. I was asking him about content. He said, bro, like you don't have to have some badass camera. He said, dude, get your phone, get genuine raw content, and make sure it's meaningful content, and people will follow it. And so you probably figured it out. Like, as long as the
Yeah.
content is meaningful content, it could be good quality or whatever. Like, fuck it.
Yeah, exactly. That's the biggest thing. And nowadays it's kind of hard because everyone has super nice equipment. But if it's got a story, it doesn't need to be super nice equipment. It helps, but as long as you got a story, it's gonna work.
Yeah. Now I gotta transition, man, into the good shit. So I gotta sit up for this one now, man. So you had the accident in the Civic. All right. Like you were pretty fucked, like you fucked the Civic up pretty bad. So before we get into what I really want to talk about, like how did that happen? Like how did you, I mean, the pictures look bad. You say you fell asleep at the wheel. So what happened, bro?
Bruh, I was getting a tattoo. It was like one of those late nights. I was like, keep on going. I'm good. I'm good.
Yeah.
And I just remember leaving the spot, bro. I got a concussion. Like I hit that wall so hard. Like I just remember driving, one of those nights that's just kind of swerving a little bit. I was like, oh, I'm good. I'm good. And those scary things, like when you close your eyes and you just don't wake back up. And man, like I legit, like the only thing I remember is like the impact, like kind of smacking the wall. I was in the slow lane. I had to be in the slow lane or maybe the middle lane, and I probably just veered. And thank God it was like 3 in the morning or like 2 in the morning, so no one was on the highway at the time. So I like was in the second lane and I went straight into like the carpool lane, like the fast lane, and my car like slid and went backwards and everything. And the first thing I remember is just the airbags deploying and then like the car stopping and me like being like, what did I do? Like trying to turn on the car.
Yeah.
And then the next thing, and then I remember like going back to sleep or like, probably falling unconscious, whatever. And then next thing I remember is just like someone being like, are you sure you don't want someone to call the ambulance? And I was like, nah, I'm good. Like I'm good. And all I was thinking was like, that's gonna be a lot of money. I'm good. And so my parents picked me up and then they're just like, man, are you okay? And I was just like, yeah, I'm fine and all that stuff. But yeah, I was out of it. I definitely was concussed and all that stuff. But yeah, bro, that was shit. Honestly, like it's crazy how like the good thing I was like asleep because it's like I didn't have any bad injuries. Like my neck was pretty messed up. My back was really tight. Like then I couldn't really breathe good. I felt like maybe I had some bruised ribs. But man, I could have freaking really messed my stuff up, bro. All the airbags deployed, all that stuff, man. That wasn't fun. I was hurting for. I remember thinking I was gonna be able to lift for a while, but like just trying to squeeze my scapula like this. Like it was weird, like that road, like just your body probably getting tossed in your car.
Yeah, probably
But
good you were asleep, like you said, because your body wasn't tense. So you probably had you
yeah,
been awake, you probably would have tensed up. It could have been
like
worse.
when people like freaking when they're like drunk or like when all those DUIs, they always kill the people and they live,
Yeah.
it's because they're all freaking all intoxicated and stuff,
Yeah.
so but yeah, I'm just glad it didn't hurt nobody, bro. Like even if like imagine if I would have crashed into somebody, that could have been a whole nother story, bro.
Yeah.
Like the good thing, like the like the CHP, all that stuff, like they're just like, man, like good thing you weren't drinking or nothing, because
Yeah.
that would have been bad.
Could have been bad off. But then you
But
trade the
hey, I
Civic.
think the best thing about that thing was I remember I didn't even want that little Honda Civic. My sister broke up with her like ex-boyfriend and she ended up getting stuck with that car. And then my dad's like, hey, once you built your motor on your Mustang, you're not going to want to drive it every day. And I was like, that's true. Let me take over payments on this little Honda. But I remember like it was like a lot of money. It was like $14,000 on this little. I'm like, damn, these Civics are expensive and all that stuff. But hey, that little thing saved me so much money. The thing was paid off for. I just had to put gas in. I would go to Vegas. I remember I would always go to San Diego, go train at California Elite when I was training. I used to bust missions on that thing. Like that thing saved me a lot of money for sure.
Like 1,000 miles to the gallon, probably.
Man, I would put seriously like almost 400 miles on one tank, and it cost maybe like barely $40 to fill up.
Yeah. So then you trade the Civic in for the CTS V.
The CTSV.
Dude, that car is so badass, bro.
I love it, man. That was like I got like $7,000 from that little Civic, and I've had like a lot of miles on the dude. I had 165,000 miles. They still gave me 7,000 for that Civic. That's how those things just hold their value, bro. It's crazy.
They say with a Honda, as long as you change your oil.
Oh, you'll be straight. Yeah, no, exactly, 100%. So yeah, so I got a good little down payment, and me, I love cars, bro. So I was gonna get something nice. Like that's my only thing. I was just talking to my friend. I was like, man, like I don't need a lot. Like I don't buy designer stuff. I don't buy nice watches. Like I'm not into like just, I don't really spend a lot of money on stuff. The biggest thing I spend money is on my cars. Like that's what I like to do.
Yeah.
So I knew I was gonna get something nice, and I don't really like new cars. I'm like, you bro, I like the classics. Like I was like, man, I like, everyone always tell me like, what's your dream car? Like I'm always like 87 Buick Grand National.
Exactly
Like,
right.
you know, like I'm saying like they're like Buick, like, and
Yeah.
I'm just saying like old cars, but like I really don't like really like the new cars. And I had opportunity to get a nice car, and I was like honestly like a dream car. I was, this is probably the only time I would do this, like, or else I'm never gonna do this again.
Yeah.
Because I have my Mustang, like that was like my little, like, you know, my little dream car too as a kid. Like that's my little fast car.
Yeah, man.
But I built that when I was broke, man. I had that car since I was like 18 years old. Like all the money saved up I put into it. I built the motor and the trans for like 7,000. Like it was all like budget built. I put the best stuff I could in there, coilovers, like no China stuff, everything American made parts, like the K members all reinforced, the control arms, like everything. So like that was my baby. But then once I, like, you know, I said I got a check from the Honda, and I was like, man, this is the time life really wants me to fucking
upgrade a little bit.
Yeah, upgrade, you know? So I was like, all right. So I was like, man, what can it be like a good little all-purpose car? And obviously I've always liked the CTSVs, man, since the first generation came out. And like I don't even know how I came across. I think I was just doing research and I saw it, and I remember like someone like doing a car review and just taking it to the track, and this guy was just smiling the whole time, just drifting it. He's like, man, this is a family car, but it can do all this stuff, and it was just the best bang for your buck to me, man.
It came with like 600 horses, like from the factory, right?
Yeah, it's legit a Z06 Corvette and a Cadillac.
Yeah,
because it has the suspension. It has the best thing about that car to me is the how it handles, because it has the magnetic ride suspension. So like a solenoid and the shock like changes. So if you go to like track mode, it makes it like very stiff and like handles the corners good. But when you have it in comfort, it makes the shocks like a Mercedes and stuff. So like it's super, like almost feels like air ride.
Yeah,
so super stock. But yeah, 650 horsepower stock, 650 torque. Is what it comes. It's the first Cadillac from ever from Cadillac to do 200 miles an hour. They took it to Germany.
Yeah.
On the Autobahn.
Yeah.
Yeah, they hit 200. So yeah, man, I was just like 4 doors. I could put some inventory in there. I was like, that's enough for me. That's enough for me.
I tell you, speaking of the Z06, man. So you know the C8, the C8 Corvette, which I think in my opinion is probably the best design. And
they look so sick.
It's sick. So
wheels on it, they look.
They're doing are they calling a Z06 package on it? Anyway, it's like my boy we were talking about the other day. He's real big into cars too. He did a little research on it, but it sounded like a freaking Ferrari.
So I heard it. Yeah,
you heard it right.
Same. Yeah.
It's what do they call it? Forget the type of engine they're gonna put in it.
Flat plane, like a
the flat plane engine, dude. It sounds like a freaking Ferrari.
Yeah,
it's stupid.
It's like they made the exhaust. I don't know how they made it sound like that, but it's like almost like a high pitch, like a F1 car.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, just like a little F1 car.
And you talk about like people ask what your dream car was. I'm like you. It's always like 67 is 70 something is.
Yeah.
And so when I started building my Monte Carlo, I'm about like it was a budget build. Like at the time, I didn't have that much money. I was just gonna start it. And if I could do it all over again, now it'd be much different. I'd likely done an LS package on it, obviously, but I did a big block. I did a 454 big block, and
old school.
Old school as shit, right? And I carbureted it, which I hated now, but built the engine, broke the engine, built it again. So now I'm in the process of doing a few other things too. My C10 build, I'm doing an LS build on it. I'm working on that right now. But I saw at your CTSV. So you took something that came with 600 horses, and then sent it off to the shop to have it rebuilt again. so now you got to tell me like, what the fuck? Like, so now what do you put into the wheel? Like, it has to be something stupid, bro.
Yeah, bro. I've always liked going fast. Like, I don't know. My dad used to drive fast cars. He had an old Mustang too, and he's just always going fast as growing up. Just remember. And I just, it's something about it. The adrenaline rush for me is just. I've always driven fast cars too. My uncle always had fast cars, so they would toss me the keys. I was always driving different cars. So, um, yeah, like even my dad too, growing up, my dad always tell me stories like his friends with like faster cars than him. Hey, like Louis, here's your key. Give me here's your keys. Like would trust them with their cars, and he would always drive them better than them. And he'd be like, man, how do you make the car drive like that? Like it's the driver. Like you gotta be a good driver and stuff. So, but yeah, man, I don't know. Yeah, so I took it to the shop. First, I did just like an exhaust. I did like exhaust. I did the headers,
Mhm,
and I did a smaller pulley because it comes supercharged. So you
mhm.
change a pulley up top, it makes the
Yeah,
supercharger make more boost.
yeah,
So first I did that. That was the and an air intake. I was like, first I was like, I'm gonna just keep it bolt-ons, like
yeah.
keep it stock, not gonna touch it too much. Put a little bunny into it, and it was fun. I was having all kinds of fun hanging out with my car friends, beating Hellcats. I'm like a way less power smoking a Hellcat because my car is like lighter, and
Yeah,
then man, my friends started modding their cars. As soon as I got beat by my friend's Hellcat, he made like 820 horsepower. He just like I used to beat him right when he was stock, and I was like, I probably beat him by like 2, 3 cars, and then he like upgraded, and then he smoked me by like 3, 4 cars. Like hell
fuck
no,
that,
this
fuck
this can't happen. I
that.
can't take no L against you. So I was like, all right. And so I was just like, you know what, I'm gonna go big. And so I ended up porting like the stock heads it comes with. I
Mhm,
threw a cam in there. They could like the stock supercharger. I got it ported because like to get a brand new supercharger, that shit's like fuck, like 7 G's, six
yeah,
G's. So
yeah,
I was like, man, I'm gonna just port it. And the guy that ended up porting my supercharger, there's a few companies that do it,
mhm,
but Kong Performance, he follows the fitness industry, so he like knew who I was, so he gave me a super fat discount on the porting. And the
yeah,
porting on the stock blowers, like you can make like up to big power with that. So I was like, man, I'll save so much money. It wasn't even like $1,000. So
mhm,
I was like, you spend 6,000, make all this power, but then once you start getting to bigger power, you're gonna break your
yeah,
transmission. You're breaking like it's a
yeah,
whole nother game of parts you got to replace.
yeah.
So I was like, if I can make a good 800, 850, my transmission could still handle it. I'll be good. So yeah, man, it's making 840 to the wheels and like 820 torque.
That's crazy.
It's crazy, man. But it's what's crazy is the technology on these new motors. Like it legit gets on the highway 20 miles per gallon, like minimum, going up hills. If it's flat, I'm legit getting like 25, 26 miles per gallon. Like freaking in a 6.2 V like supercharged car.
Yeah.
Like
Well,
that shit's crazy.
that's the crazy thing. You talk about being able to go fast. And with the newer cars, you can put crazy horsepower to the wheel and still be efficient. You start talking about like back in the day, you break transmissions real easy. Like it was nuts. You couldn't get 800 horses and be able to drive it every day. So you got a daily driver getting 800
Uh-uh.
horses, and that's crazy, bro. That's crazy.
Yeah, so I'm legit driving. This car is legit. It feels like just how it was stock. It's like it's still not like it's not drivable. It just like at the light, it just kind of a little rocking a little bit at the
Mhm.
cam. But
Yeah.
other than that, like it feels stock. Like it's super nice, man. It's like crazy. Like I love it, bro.
Well, I
It's
know.
everything I wanted.
I know I plan to get to. I couldn't come to California last year because of the pandemic and everything shut
Yeah,
down. I just got there a couple times a year. I want to come visit the gym. That's for damn sure. When I do come out there, so when I do, I got to get at least one ride in the CTSV.
oh, I got you, brother.
And
I
and, and
got
I, I don't know. I'm not a Ford fan, but I might make an exception.
you.
I've
Yeah,
been a
bro.
Chevy guy all my life, man.
I
So,
feel you, brother.
so what was it like? I know California is one of the states that was in the headlines a lot during the pandemic. I saw you guys training like in the backyard for a while during the
Yeah,
pandemic.
so during the pandemic when that happened, man, like I straight was like these gyms were like not letting me film. And like I
Mhm.
was like, this the way I sell my product, this way I market myself. Like I need a at first I was like, oh no worries. But I was like, nah, this is how I like, this is what I do. So I was like went on offer up. I bought like elite FTS squat rack. I bought like freaking, I think like I don't know, 1,200 pounds or 1,100 pounds in weight. And
Mhm.
it was crazy. The guy I met up on OfferUp, he like ended up being like he knew who I was and shit, watched the video. So he gave me a good deal on the plates. They were like Evenco, fucking the old school Evenco plates,
Mhm.
the little
Yeah.
holes in them. So he sold them for me for like $1.75. Should I invested? I put like I remember I spent almost like 3 grand. maybe like, yeah, like almost like 3 grand to get all that stuff. And then I was just training in my backyard, man. I hit up Texas power bars, like, hey, I pretty much just bought a squat rack, spent all this money. Like, all I need is a Texas squat bar, a deadlift bar, and a power bar, and I'll be set. And so they sent all that shit to me. I said, I'll do some like free like YouTube marketing. So they sent that to me, and bro, I was set. That's all I needed. And I was hitting PRs in my backyard during quarantine too, bro. It was sick. Like, I was having fun.
So the so with your team, man, so you guys seem to do a lot of stuff together, like cook out together, travel together. So are these guys that you grew up with, or did you just kind of like meet these guys along the way? Like, how did you get your team to form, I guess, be so tight?
Like I said, I met Mookie in high school and stuff like that. So I've always met him. And then same thing, the other guy, Nate, I met him when I was playing football in junior college. So I've always like knew him and stuff like that. So yeah, I knew him before social media, and two, I never saw them as like, a lot of people, they get these athletes because they're big social media people, or they have a big following, or they see them, oh, they could benefit from my team. Yeah, I saw some potential in them, how they could help me, but I was never like, oh, I'm gonna like legit kind of like use them. That's what kind of people like
Yeah.
see it as, or not see it as, but that's what they think, the big in the back of their head. So I was just more trying to be like, dude, these are good assets to my team. They would represent my brand good, and I just kind of genuinely found them as like, good people to represent my brand. That's why I'm working on setting up an ambassador program. That's what I'm saying. I'm getting someone on my team that could help me like, um, weed out the people that I really want to like represent my brand, and
Yeah.
get people like that. Cause I I met a lot of cool people through social media. Like I could say I even met you through social media, like say like someone like you, I would love, like, you're a perfect person like that. I would say represents the breed. Like, you got your own thing going every day. You got to go like, edit your videos, do your stuff. Like, that's a rare breed. No one's telling you to do that shit, bro. Like, that shit's so much harder when like no one's telling you anything. Like, you have to do that shit every day, like, so like shit like that, like just getting my message and my apparel out there to people, and just showing that, because like it's dope when people will tell me like, oh, like I see your brand like at the gym or something like that, and they're just all like, oh, like rare breed, pit, like it's just, it's like a good vibe, like you just know like, oh, like you're fucking a rare breed too, you're trying to represent the brand and stuff like that, because it's not like you're gonna buy this shirt and be like, I'm not a rare breed. Like, you're gonna buy that shit with pride and be like, motherfucker, I'm a rare breed. Like, you know what I'm saying? So that's the type of what I'm trying to bring the energy of. And like, I'm gonna get the ambassador program going, because I'm not trying to just get like you said, like just random people, or like, oh, this guy's 100K, let me get him, or he looks good, he's got 6-pack abs and he's jacked. I want to find people that like got a story, they're actually like real genuine people. And then that's it, because I feel like it's very easy to make a brand like get watered down by just trying to get everyone to support it and just make money,
Yeah. Now the Hispanic community, you mentioned that earlier, man. So number one, it's like a very, very tight-knit community. All right. And I can't say I know a great deal about it. Now, you are out on the West Coast, so I think you have a lot more of a Hispanic population out there than we do down here in the South, obviously. But I mean, that's your brand. I mean, they look like the Hispanic community, like they follow you, they rock with you.
Yeah, definitely.
Do you think that people like yourself and other guys from the Hispanic community who are in powerlifting, who are in fitness, do you think that you guys have been able to bring like fitness and I guess powerlifting and maybe even bodybuilding, I guess if you want to call it, to that community? Do you think you guys have grown that part of it in terms of like more people in the Hispanic community been into fitness and been into powerlifting?
Oh yeah, definitely. I would say from all the way back to like when we started Strength Cartel, with me and Big, like we probably really blew that up like from the start, because there's really no like in the fitness world kind of like Latinos like doing anything like big, in bodybuilding or even in powerlifting. So especially even with the YouTube presence, because now that's like, before YouTube was like, oh, you're a YouTuber, like cool, no one really knows you. But now like if you're a YouTuber, like you're kind of like the shit. Like
yeah, it used to be kind of corny. It's like, so
yeah, like before, like you're a YouTuber, but now it's like motherfucker Jake Paul. Like everyone knows who Jake Paul, Logan Paul is. Like I didn't even know there was two brothers, bro. But like it's like legit. Like if you're a YouTuber, like you kind of like got like people are like, oh, like he's a YouTuber, like you're famous. Like it's weird.
I'm gonna say what's crazy. So
anyone can make a YouTube account. Anyone can make a account right now and be their YouTube creator.
It's crazy, man. You talk about it because I was watching tonight when I was editing some videos. I was looking up I had my YouTube playing on my television. Um, but Indio Champ. So I'm sure you know Indio Champ, the guy
Yeah,
who.
yeah, yeah.
So Champ seems mad cool. I'm trying to get him on the show too at some point, but he's got into boxing lately. Of course, he's a YouTuber for the most part. So he got into boxing, and so it's a good chance he's gonna probably end up getting a fight from someone because he has a big enough presence, has a big enough following. You know what I mean? So you're right, man. Being a YouTuber, you can definitely be way different than it was back in the day when you were like, oh, you're just a lame YouTuber. Who does that? But fucking
Yeah.
YouTubers now, like making fucking millions of dollars, bro. It's crazy.
Yeah,
So,
making big money. It's crazy.
so you have Snow and you have Tyson. So you always been into dogs, or and then they both look
Yeah,
great
bro.
too, by the way. And I know you put a video up the other day about having Snows, I guess, having her ears clipped. And I was reading some of the comments. It was kind of crazy because you have some people who are against it, some people who are for it, some people had, it's kind of controversy. I'm like, bro, like it's,
Yeah.
And I'm not really big into dogs, but I have always been around people who had dogs. And I always knew like getting ears clips was kind of like, number one, they do look good when you have the ears clipped, but I also start learning about the health benefits of it too. And you talk about it on your page, like why it's good for the health.
Yeah.
So like when you read the comments sometimes on your page, having the many followers as you have, like how do you deal with the negative comments or the bullshit comments that come from people
Bro,
who
it's hard. Like it's easy and it's hard because some days it's just on your mood. Like some you be like, not today, motherfucker. Like I'm not happy with it. Like, but then like I'll stop myself and be like, man, this is what he wants me to do. Like this they're trying to get underneath my skin, you know. Sometimes I'll make fun of it. I'll comment back to people, but for the most part, I just try not to respond, bro, because they want some type of feedback and they want you to like give in. They want you to talk back to them and just makes their day. Like, so I just really try not to like comment back. But yeah, don't get me wrong, like it does trust it pisses me off when they talk about like my dogs, or especially when you really care about something like my dogs. Like I have so much love for them. I would never hurt them. Like I see when they get their ears cut, like they don't go through pain, like they don't wake up crying. So like I wouldn't do something that like it's gonna like any type of harm in my dog. Like I wouldn't want to do it, you know. Like even when they get their ears cut, like they make sure you put a cone on the dog so they don't scratch their ears. Like I don't even put a cone on them because I'm not that I feel bad, but I just want to give them the freedom of, hey, as long as you don't fucking touch your ear, I won't put a cone on you because they hate that shit, you know. So just stuff like that. But for the most part, you just gotta ignore it, bro. Like the haters are gonna be there and stuff, and so you just gotta ignore it. You can't let it phase you. But don't get me wrong, it always phases you once you're not having the best day. Or sometimes people just know, they just get underneath your skin. Or like I'll see it sometimes where like I just won't respond to like a message and the person will just keep on sending the same thing, like be humble, open this message, like you think you're all that. You're like, damn, like why would I even open this anyways? But this guy's like being relentless with it, you know. So stuff like that, you want to open it and be like, hey bro, I open up a tons of messages, but like I'm not going to open up to like your negative stuff. Or like I'll see previous message he sent and he's just saying like inappropriate stuff, like this stupid stuff, and I'm like, bro, why would I respond back to you? And then if you hit them up, they like either try to be all extra cool with you, like, oh, I didn't know you're gonna say, I didn't mean to or anything. And it's like, oh, now you're flipping the script, like you know.
Well, what I find interesting, man. So of course, most recently, one of the bigger things have been the Kyle Ritter case that just came out.
Oh man, yeah,
everybody had their opinion about that. So I just posted in my story, man. I mean, and essentially that, I was never under the impression anything different was going to happen from it. I figured that was going to be the case.
Yeah.
And most everybody when I say my community, in the Black community, we all feel the same. We knew it was going to happen. So when the verdict came down, it's kind of like all right, cool. We kind of expected it, right? So I put that in my story, and I said essentially like that's sad that that we didn't even expect any different outcome.
Yeah, like you guys already knew the outcome.
Yeah, right. And so this guy, he decided to respond, and without going into too much detail, he sent another post, and it was about a court case where a Black kid had gotten found not guilty for something he had did. And I was like, all right, why you sent me this post? Right. So I sent a question mark back, and he goes on to want to explain, well, this is an example that the judicial system does work despite skin color. And I'm like, all right, bro. So like you said, I went back through some of the messages that he had sent me in the past. And I'm never mean to people in my DMs. I always try to make sure I respond to as many people as I can. And I always try to be subjective, should I say, to the answer. So he had been like poking the bear for a while with me on little things here and there, but I would never really take the bait. So this time I took the bait. I'm like, okay, bro, we're gonna have this conversation. And we had a little bit of back and forth, and we just kind of let it be what it was. But like you said, a lot of times I find out that when I meet you in person, they don't have the same energy. You know, it's like if you're gonna be an asshole in my DM, then we have that same energy when we speak in person. Not to say we're gonna fight, but just stand on your own, like stand 10 toes down on what you're gonna talk about, so that when you say it, you know. But you're right. And then some people they just want to incite shit. They just want to get you upset for whatever reason. It's just dumb shit, bro.
Yeah, like it's crazy. Like I've had one guy legit like say he was gonna like meet me at the LA Fit Expo, and like I was like sent him some merch, and like he was just being like hella complicated, like, yeah, I don't want a medium, I wanted a large, like just being hella
Yeah,
complicated. I was trying to be nice. I sent him stuff back, and also the point where I was like, bro, like honestly, I don't even want your business. Like I appreciate you, but like just don't buy from me again. Like I've shipped out to like thousands of people, and you're the only one that have given me a headache, you know. And
yeah,
he just like kind of was just like being trying to be nice to me, and then I just ignored him. I said like, please don't like buy from me again. And then he was like going all crazy, like on like these messages, like I'm gonna pull up to the LA Fit Expo, tell Casey like you're ignoring a freaking like a military veteran. All like they just want to scare you, and like that fool
yeah,
never showed up. Like,
yeah,
you know what I'm saying? But it's just like the stuff they say. I'm like, bro, they lying about they're in the military. Like just, you know, it's just crazy.
yeah.
These
Crazy.
internet people, you know.
So
But yeah,
man,
I think it's crazy though. I want to touch base with that Kyle Rittenhouse, whatever. I didn't even like look into that,
yeah,
but I feel like there's so much. When something is that big and there's eyes on it, there's so much different stories and controversies. You know, like they just make it so big they want people to fight, and they
yeah,
want it to blow up. So I just feel like I've seen so much dumb stuff. Like obviously, like just the fact he wasn't obviously like not guilty, and then people being like, oh, because he shot like a pedophile, like, oh, you must like pedophiles, and like they just try to make it look like, you know, like
exactly.
all this, like you're a bad person if you think he was right, you know, or he was
Yeah.
wrong, you know what I'm saying? Just like this, the media is so bad nowadays.
Well, I will say, like, what I get into sometimes with people on social media. Again, I try to avoid these conversations, but I will occasionally. I'll engage them. And of course, in our country right now, it's all about race, and it's unfortunate because I'm black. You know, you're Hispanic. You have whites. You have different nationalities, different races. And like same time, we all have the same freaking issues at the end of the day. You know,
Yeah.
like, and what's unfortunate is some people can't get beyond that to get to the point that right is right and wrong is wrong. And so with this thing, with this kid, had he been a black guy, or had he been Hispanic, had he been any other race, if he's wrong, he's just wrong, right? I'm
Yeah.
not gonna I'm not gonna
Wrong.
take a side because of what color he is. And then that's the issue that I think what you're trying to kind of what you're saying is we just make things way bigger than they have to be. We try to change the narrative when the
But yeah,
focus.
that's what I'm saying. All they had to say, hey, is he wrong for going across country for a gun? Like
Exactly.
that's it. Case over. Not like he shot a pedophile, like, you know what I'm saying? Like
Yeah.
they just make it so what it's not. But yeah, like how you say. And that's how I feel like the whole world is. Like even working out, it's hella fucking simple.
Yeah.
But people don't know what good technique is. People don't know how to work out. And I'm
Yeah.
just like, bruh, this shit is so simple. Like, we're in 2021. How do people not know how to fucking work out? But like,
Exactly.
it happens a lot.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
crazy.
It's nuts, man. So trying to wrap it up here, man. So I can let you get to it. Rare breed. So where do you see your brand going? Where are you trying to take the rare breed next? What is Pitbull trying to do next? What do you want to see yourself, I guess, in the next couple of years in terms of your brand, who you are, and I guess what do you want your legacy to be on this sport once it's all said and done? Because I must say, I think you're already, you're going to go down as one of the greats in the sport. All right, you're very well known. You accomplished a whole lot. Um, what do you want to try to do before you decide, okay, I'm gonna hang it up and walk away from the sport and walk off into the sunset? So what do you want Rare Breed to be for you?
I want Rare Breed to just like grow. Like, I wanted to see it grow into just like other individuals like me that like are just want to represent the brand, like pretty much just like me to the fullest. And this really kind of, because to me, like a brand and like someone, like even like a celebrity, you look up to, you want to be relatable to celebrity, because it's like, I don't know, you want to feel like a part of something, kind of, you know. Like say if I see it, like I listen to like a lot of like I don't know, like rappers that like rap about like cars and stuff, or
Mhm.
they like about like rap cars and like weed, like stuff I do and stuff. So I'm like, man, I could relate to that. So like I see like Rare Breed as being someone I could find that like really has that passion to being like a rare breed, and just finding like individuals the same way and just growing it. Like I said, I want to see that ambassador program like grow to where it's like kind of like how I see like dark sport does it very good. You don't job with like bringing in people that are like very serious about bodybuilding. Like they ain't
Mhm.
gonna sponsor anybody that's like, average, like they're gonna sponsor those people that are like winning shows and stuff like that. And that's how I want my brand to be. Like, not saying winning shows, like say it could be to the most like to a mom trying to like, got through a divorce, trying to better herself, something like that. Like just being a rare breed, not putting the pretty much pretty an excuse. 'Cause at the end of the day, everything is an excuse of why you don't want to get something done. So that's pretty much it. And then for me, like I still have big goals on what I want to accomplish. I've always wanted to accomplish 2,000 total under 200 pounds. So um, if that's going to be at 181 or 198, I don't know. I'm still like around. It's hard for me to gain weight. I walk around like right even right now, like force feeding and all that stuff. Like I'm maybe walking around waking up at 190, like 191. So
Yeah.
it's hard for me to go up to that bigger weight class, but I'm for sure still at 181. But yeah, man, I'm not gonna stop like really competing until like my body like goes. I think I'm always gonna have that like that love to like lift heavy and push my body to the limits, because that's just who I am. Like
Yeah.
I've like I have a lot of people like, how do you still have the passion to lift heavy and do it? Like I've had people ask me that, like, because they just know, like I'm talking like other business owners and stuff. Like
Mhm.
I know what it takes to run a brand, but I'm like, I do it because I love it. Like kind of like how like Ronnie Coleman and said, like even to today, Ronnie Coleman's all beat up and he still works out. Like I
Mhm.
seen him like to the like I think 2 years ago I went to the Texas gym and he was all like limping. Like I'm talking like maybe like falling over to the next
Yeah.
machine because everything's so close. And he's just like doing his shit. But like that's how kind of it is for me. Like some days I just don't want to lift heavy. I'll get in my head like, you've done enough, Kevin. Like you could rest, like recover, but like I end up I always just do my workout. Like there's no way
Yeah.
for me to quit. I feel like it's just instilled in me. So as long as I keep my body healthy, I feel like I'll be able to push it. But I just will go until my body kind of like, I feel like when you're competitively done lifting heavy, but I think I'll still always lift heavy, but yeah, there's definitely gonna be a point where I know I'm not gonna want to like compete no more and like
Yeah.
really try to like break records. Because for me, there's like that's why I haven't done a competition in like going on 4 years now. Because there's no point of me competing unless I'm gonna break an all-time world record, or I'm gonna break one of my own records, or like really destroy it. Like I'm not gonna go bust my ass and like freaking train all this hard to put maybe 10 pounds higher on my squat total. Like,
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
wanted to really be like, damn, this guy put 50 pounds on his squat since last comp, or like, like really blow out my old total. Like there's just no point. So I've just been building and building and building and trying to just, like I said, focus on staying healthy and technique. Cause when I focus on staying healthy and technique, my numbers are just keep on growing and stuff. So I know I just gotta stick with that, bro. Because I'm like, I know I have a 500-pound bench in me. It's just on the fact of like learning how to use more of my back, because I've been benching 405 since I was like 18, about like at 180 pounds. But it's all shoulders, chest, and try. This all off the strength. But
Yeah.
like that's why I trip out on people like you that start late, because you were just like you said, you're just like a gym lifter, like a off the strength kind of like and then once you get taught some like real things, programming, you're like, wow, like I can actually work out strategically, and like
Mhm.
actually what can I do with my body. Even
Yeah.
someone like TD and Julius, like they're new to powerlifting too. Like
Yeah.
that trips me out. Like people like that, I'm just like, bro, like you're just fucking some random ass dude, like strong as fuck. Like Julius was like, addicted to like drugs, right, or like
Mhm.
alcohol or something like that.
Yeah.
So it's just like crazy. You were over here being like all strung out, and now you got the biggest raw bench press in the world. Like that's why I feel like the people don't know their limits. Like you have to, or like that you never know yourself until you like truly believe in yourself,
Yeah.
and that's
I
the
like
hardest
like
part.
I'm supposed to have Tamara on the show. the young lady who broke the deadlift record at the
Okay,
showdown.
yeah. She's blowing up all
Blowing up,
over.
right? And she's 3 years in, bro. Like she's only competed a handful of times.
That's why
And
I say like it takes time. And I've thought what I remember being younger, because like I started to competition at a young age. I was like, man, I'm gonna be 25, strongest in the world
yeah,
at least by 25.
yeah,
You know, shit, that never happened. I remember I was like strongest in the world at 165 for like a few minutes, and then boom, some next guy breaks my record. I'm like,
exactly.
damn. And like I just like
Exactly.
that lasted long, and then yeah, it's just crazy. There's just always people getting bigger, faster, stronger than you. So, but that's like you said, oh, like leaving legacy, the last thing. Like I always wanted like that's why like I love competing, I love training for a thing, but like that's when I go out, like I wanted my legacy to be known. Like that's why I want to leave records, because when I die, like shit's on paper, like it can't go away. So like that's my legacy, to have, you know, records on paper where like no one's gonna forget about me.
Yeah.
Like that's like I will live like that, like kind of like the old school gladiator fucking mentality. Like there's that one movie where he's all like, oh, like why are you gonna go fight I would never want to go fight the big guy. And he's like, well, that's why no one's gonna remember you, you know. Like
Yeah,
that's
exactly.
how I see myself. Like people, no, I know, no, you know, a lot of people don't want to put 700 pounds on my back, on their back, but I'll put 700 pounds on my back, like if they're gonna remember me, type shit, you know. So that's the type of mindset I have, and the legacy I want to like leave behind. And I know I will. Just got to keep on doing it.
Well, 440 is your best bench. I think you got a competition, man. So I think you were probably like me when it came to 600 on the bench. I was chasing it. I chased it. Crazy thing is I've hit it in training, just never hit it in competition. So it was what it was, bro. But and like I completely get what you're saying when you say I want to lift heavy forever, but it's that passion to compete. It's kind of it's a thing. So I remember growing up thinking like, why the fuck did Barry Sanders want to walk away from football in his prime, or why did
Yeah.
Megatron walk away from football in his prime? And I can kind of get it. Like you still love the sport, but I didn't want to get back on the platform if I knew I wasn't 100% there mentally. And after I tore my quad, it was just like, fuck, bro. It was just a lot to try to come back from. And so I just haven't been there mentally to want to compete. I still want to train hard every day. But I wish you the best, man. Like I think I think you're gonna definitely go down as one of the greatest to do this. And then in terms of just your personality and your brand, you know, genuine. I think everybody I know who's ever met you always said, no, he's freaking cool as shit. I know a couple of guys over in Atlanta that you go train with every now and then. They love you over there. So definitely, shit, you're pit bull, bro. You know, it is what it is, man.
Appreciate you, brother.
I think it's kind of
definitely.
It's kind of cool. I think for you to get to a point of where someone can say, yeah, you know, pit bull, and like you know who that is. You know, and you're that, man.
Yeah.
It's been dope. Watch you grow, man.
Hell yeah, man. Well, I can't wait till we get to train again, brother. That's like, it's like we
Yeah.
never got to get a real hard workout in.
When I come out there, I'm coming out for two things: to come to the gym and to get in the car.
Take a ride.
Take a ride, man. So
definitely hit me up when you're in Cali, brother. We'll make it happen.